Okay, let's dive right into this explainer with a hook that honestly still gives me chills. You know, of all the maritime mysteries ever recorded in human history, this one is just profoundly different. We are not talking about a ship that sank in a massive violent storm or, one that caught fire and burned to the waterline. No, this is the deeply unsettling story of a ship that was simply found floating in the middle of the ocean, perfectly intact. It's essentially a real-life cinematic ghost story, and it has absolutely baffled experts for over a century. I want you to really picture the eerie normality of this scene. Imagine a ship just bobbing out there in the dark, cold Atlantic. The sails are up, there's literally food still sitting on the table. Everything looks entirely normal, except for one horrifying detail. Everyone was gone. Imagine stepping onto that creaking wooden deck, the thick sea fog is rolling in, and you just find this utter, heavy silence where there should be life. It is the perfect suspenseful setup to what is an absolute anomaly of history. 10! That is the exact number of souls who were on board that ship. And every single one of those 10 people completely vanished into thin air, leaving absolutely zero trace behind. No bodies, no frantic messages, nothing. Just a silent, floating vessel drifting along under the moonlight. Section 1. The Fateful Voyage. So to actually understand this mystery, we have to rewind to the beginning. At the helm of the Mary Celeste, which was this really beautiful 103-foot American merchant vessel, was a 37-year-old named Captain Benjamin Briggs. And on board with him were his wife Sarah, their 2-year-old daughter Sophia, and 7 highly experienced crewmen. Now here's the thing about Briggs. He was notoriously careful, methodical. He was not a risk taker by any stretch, which makes it even more shocking that his family was with him on what was supposed to be a completely safe, totally routine cargo run from New York to Genoa, Italy. Seriously, this wasn't some dangerous trailblazing expedition. This was just everyday business. And honestly, the voyage began perfectly normally. They headed out of New York Harbor on November 5th with great winds, and the captain's log recorded all the standard everyday nautical details, right up until November 25th. That was it, the final entry. After noting their position and the weather for the day, there is just this abrupt, terrifying silence. For over a week, the Mary Celeste simply ghosted through the vast expanse of the open Atlantic. Section 2. The Eerie Discovery. Fast forward to December 4th, 1872. Captain David Morehouse of the British ship Dei Gratia spots the Mary Celeste drifting kind of erratically in the mist. Now, Morehouse actually knew Captain Briggs personally, so he immediately sensed something was terribly wrong and sent a boarding party over to check it out. And when those men stepped onto the deck, they didn't find smashed wood, they didn't find wreckage. They found a hauntingly pristine environment. The ship was totally intact, the massive cargo of alcohol below deck completely untouched. In the galley, a half-eaten meal was just sitting on the table. And perhaps the most heartbreaking detail of all, little 2-year-old Sophia's toys were just lying there in the cabin, abandoned. Everything was completely normal except for the overwhelming absolute absence of human life. Section 3. Investigating the Impossible. So put yourself in the shoes of a 19th century investigator for a second. You're tasked with making logical sense of a truly illogical scene. They methodically tore down the most common theories of the day. Was it a mutiny? Well, no, there were absolutely zero signs of violence or any kind of struggle anywhere on those wooden decks. Okay, what about a pirate attack? Nope, nothing was stolen. The crew's valuables and the ship's cargo were completely untouched. The public was honestly so desperate for answers that they even started suggesting a sea monster. But obviously, the physical evidence we just talked about directly contradicts any violent raid or mythical beast. But they did find something extremely important about the payload itself. The ship was hauling 1,701 barrels of industrial alcohol across the ocean. This wasn't just, harmless, standard cargo. It was highly volatile, flammable stuff. And here is the critical, massive clue those investigators finally uncovered. Out of all those 1,701 barrels sitting down in the dark cargo hold, exactly 9 were discovered to be leaking. Just 9. Which naturally leads us to the most plausible explanation they can muster up, the fatal fumes theory. The idea here is that fumes from those 9 leaking barrels started building up inside the enclosed, stuffy cargo hold. Captain Briggs, who we know was an ever-cautious, methodical leader, smelled these explosive fumes. Fearing the ship was going to blow at any second, he ordered his family and the entire crew to temporarily evacuate into a lifeboat, tether it to the back of the Mary Celeste, and just wait for the fumes to clear out. But then, tragedy. A sudden massive wave hits, or maybe a harsh gust of wind, and snap, the tow rope breaks, permanently separating that tiny little lifeboat from the massive ship. It sounds plausible, right? But we really have to challenge this theory. Yes, it's true that the ship's one and only lifeboat was missing, but you have to ask yourself, why would a careful, highly experienced captain like Briggs abandon a perfectly good, structurally sound ship for a tiny, incredibly dangerous lifeboat in the middle of the open Atlantic Ocean? Taking his own wife and his toddler into that kind of immense danger just over a mere suspicion of fumes, that seems completely, entirely out of character for a man known for his safe, calculated decisions. Honestly, it just doesn't fully add up. Section 4. An unsolved maritime mystery. If we pull back from all the cold logic and detective work for a minute, we're left with a staggering emotional reality. Just imagine the sheer terror of 10 people, including a mother and a 2-year-old child, suddenly stranded in the vast, freezing, completely unforgiving ocean. No food, no water, just watching their only hope of survival drift silently away into the impenetrable fog. And the most disturbing fact of all, they were left without a single trace. That missing lifeboat was never found, no bodies were ever recovered, zero wreckage, not even a desperate last-minute message etched into a plank of wood. The profound silence of their fate is deafening, and honestly, it's no wonder that to the superstitious sailors of the time, she was forever branded a cursed ghost ship. Which brings us to our final thought, the ship that swallowed 10 souls and kept their secret forever. Think about that. 150 years later, and every single theory still has massive holes. Every logical explanation leaves these chilling questions completely unanswered. Baby Sophia's toys waited in that old, dark cabin for a little girl who never, ever came back. It really leaves you wondering, are there some mysteries out there in the dark, cold ocean that are simply not meant to be solved? Thank you so much for exploring this fascinating enigma with me today, and I'll see you in the next explainer.